One of my favourite channels, Technology Connections, recently did a video talking about the forces behind the rejection of renewable energy and the dependence on fossil fuels. And it was clear that Alec of Technology Connections really wanted to make a genuine, serious point here, because he can often be really sarky and kind of funny and punchy in his videos, but here he was being very measured and sensible. There's one other, so go and watch it, basically, is the first part of this video that I want to say. The second part is I want to add one more thing. I've had quite a few conversations about, and have seen conversations happening about the way we power vehicles in the future. Now, I'm going to park for the second the point that, you know, personal transportation and the over-reliance on cars is in itself a problem. That's not the point of this conversation. The point is, it's a thing that we have just now, and there's a conversation happening about how we power those vehicles that I think is not particularly useful. So, obviously there's a move towards electric vehicles. I have one, I really like it. I also cycle a lot. I have e-bikes I'm very fond of. I have a channel called E-Bike Nugs about e-bikes. But as we power those EVs, some of the conversation is about the technology that powers them. Because they currently use batteries, most of them, of course, as you'd expect. And there's conversations around, you know, the rare earth minerals and the lifespans and all that stuff. Now, Alec goes into some of that in his video. But I wanted to make one particular point about hydrogen, which is a thing that keeps coming up in the conversation around powering cars, because hydrogen as a tech is really fucking cool. Like, it's incredibly effective, it's energy dense, it's a way of kind of doing what we do with petrol, but with a fuel that is not as carbon intense as petrol and diesel. Like, the tailpipe emissions of hydrogen is water. And yet, while I think hydrogen maybe has a part to play, as I understand it from my research, in powering large things, maybe trucks, maybe things where like rapid refueling is important. Or anyway, the point is, people sort of often go, well, batteries equals bad in EVs, but hydrogen equals really cool, so let's do hydrogen instead. And my problem with that is not so much about the tech, because the tech is really cool, it's about the business model behind that. Because ultimately what we're still talking about here is putting crap into your car that gets used up. You know, it's fueling your car up with a substance that will be used up. And the thing that pisses me off about this, and the point that Alec was making in his video, but he didn't actually specifically talk about hydrogen, which is why I'm doing it right now, is that the model around that, the underlying, and this isn't some sort of big sort of, you know, scary cabal thing, but the underlying economic, commercial, capitalist forces behind that model is about producing a substance and shipping that substance around the place and then selling it to you at a pump. Whereas with a car that's powered directly from electricity, so like hydrogen, basically you put the hydrogen into the car. Lots of problems with that, high pressure, temperature, bunch of stuff. But ultimately you put the fuel in the car and the car becomes a small power station, turning that fuel into electricity to move the car. But if you power it directly straight from electricity in the first place, then how the electricity is produced, all things being equal, will only ever get cleaner. And there's the opportunity, although it's not necessarily one that everyone will always take, but there's the opportunity to cut capitalism out of the process of powering your car at all. Yes, it's raining, I'm going to keep going. So you could put solar panels on your roof. You could install a micro turbine. You could begin, and you know, we do this at a community level. It doesn't have to be just you. It doesn't have to be a libertarian ideal. It could be a commune ideal. But my point is that, like, when I talk to folks about hydrogen as a fuel source for cars, they're often thinking purely in terms of the tech. But my concern is much more with the underlying commercial models where big, financed, powerful organisations want to get to a stage of being able to sell you stuff over and over again. And the joy about a pure battery EV, which is not without its problems in and of itself, but the joy with that tech is that the means of powering it should only get cleaner over time. We are taking coal out of our energy grid, we're putting more renewables into our energy grid, all that sort of stuff. But even if you get beyond the energy grid itself, which, as Alex says in his videos, is like one of the most amazing machines that mankind's ever made, you could, without too much expenditure or hassle, get yourself to a place where you are becoming independent of the requirements of the mechanisms of commerce and the economy to power your car or your bike. I think that's worth thinking about. But go ahead and watch Alex's video. It's linked, if I can, on whatever platform you're watching this from. Otherwise, go and search for Technology Connections and look for his video about how you're being lied to in the conversation around renewable energy. In that video, the video ends as it usually does, but if you're watching the playhead, there is a big chunk after that in which he unexpectedly but delightfully goes on a bit of a rant about ICE, about republicanism, about the current administration in the US. And it is nuts, as he says in that video, that like a tech YouTuber has to say these things. I think Alex has always been a bit punchy, but like it's, I think, notable that we're at a stage where that is a thing we have to do, that he feels he has to do, and that I think is important to do. So yeah, I'll end this video with, abolish ICE as well. I have no direct dog in the skin in that game, dog in that race, because I'm not a US citizen, but that stuff's coming, man, and we need to be aware of it. And the whole business of like being woke, obviously think about the genesis of that term and the black community, but the genesis of that is like being alert to injustice and alert to like systems and processes that perhaps aren't obvious, and then the next stage is to do the work to actually dismantle those things, those processes and systems of patriarchy, of oversight, of capitalism, etc. And that all sounds quite grand, but there can be small, every choice you make in how you conduct your life, in how you consume stuff, in how you form your relationships and you engage with society. Every single choice you make is in service of your view of society and of the society that you want to be a part of. And I think it behoves us all to first work out what that society is that we want, and then to actively work towards it.